You had mentioned several points, I guess, that I think the rest of us can learn something from. One about these issues that we have resistance towards changing our behavior,
Mm-hmm.
the avoidance of risk and things. Have you found any other approaches to resolving these? Because these kind of problems are the same kind of problems that we have in financial decision making as well.
Yeah.
I think we had a conversation with Dr. Scott Hutel over at Duke University's Institute of Brain Sciences, and the same issue came up there as well. How does the medical community combat these kinds of problems, this different perception of risk?
Well, first of all, I think more and more transparency and more clarity of communicating risk, and that is easier said than done. But for example, let me just shift to population health for a moment to give an example, then get back to clinical cases. I'm currently involved in some cases involving nitrate pollution of groundwater, the nitrate coming from huge concentrations of animal manure in industrial food animal production facilities, like the hog industry in North Carolina, the poultry industry in the eastern shore of Maryland where I live, or feedlots or big mega dairies in the Central Valley of California. And what's emerged is that when you have these huge concentrations of animal manure, it breaks down and produces ammonia, and it produces nitrate, and nitrate in certain concentration can be very injurious to human health. It can cause the blue baby syndrome, for example, because nitric oxide hooks onto the hemoglobin more powerfully than oxygen does. And so if there's exposure to the young infant, they can end up having a lot of nitrate replacing oxygen, and so the blood that perfuses the periphery and vital organs is not red oxygenated blood, but blue deoxygenated blood.
And scuba divers have the same problem.
And they can have it, yeah. So, but it also has been implicated in other, as a risk factor for other problems, chronic diseases, the issue then becomes EPA has set a maximum contaminant level, MCL, of 10 milligrams per liter of groundwater with a certain safety factor. But to go below that, to say we're going to have a standard of 5 milligrams per liter as our MCL, allowable MCL, means a tremendous increase in the cost of regulation, monitoring, and so forth. And it's a great example of where public policy is shaped by saying we have finite resources. How can they be invested most wisely in a comparative cost-benefit analysis or cost-effectiveness analysis to save the most lives, or to prevent the most premature morbidity, or collecting it all together, something we now use more commonly as a measure is quality adjusted life year, which combines both life expectancy and premature morbidity in one measure. So if you know that you've got a fixed budget for regulation and protecting the general health of the public against air pollution, water pollution, safety hazards from inadequate designed child safety restraint seats in automobiles, allowing a threshold that's too low for colony-forming units of bacterial contamination of fruit juices by the FDA. I mean, you know, it's apples and oranges and pineapples and cucumbers is what you're trying to compare.
Literally.
literally. I mean. And so, our whole approach to protecting the health of the American people is based on this risk trade-off analysis, and also relative risk compared to the resources you'd have to take away from other highly cost-effective interventions in order to ramp up your regulatory practices.